Hi, good morning, everybody. It's day 18 of the remote learning packet, and we are working on the theme page, okay? Now, before you start this page, I would go back and I would make sure that your book was in front of you. You're going to need your book in order to answer these questions. And go to Art of Poetry. All right, so let's talk about theme. Theme, very simply, is the message. And when you put the message next to each other, you can theme is right there. That's why I put a box around it. Okay, so that's the way to remember theme is the message. Most authors and poets tell you have some kind of message they want to give you, but most often I have to tell you, it is implied, not stated. You're not going to find it in a sentence somewhere in the story. It very rarely happens. Most of the time, it's implied. You have to read the story or the poem, think about it, use all of your experience, and then come up with what you think that author is trying to tell you. So let's take a look at some of those. Question number 1 talks about what is the theme of the first 3 poems in this selection. Well, the first 3 poems in this selection is Necessary Garden, Eating Alphabet Soup, The Big Word Girl. Each one of them has something to do with literacy, okay? Joy of reading, making words, advanced vocabulary, all of that. That all has to do with each of those poems. So if you take all of those ideas together, they would come up with literacy. So I would say for these 3 poems, the theme is literacy. All right, so they don't give you a ton of space there. They only give you 4 lines, I think. Yeah, 4 lines. So you're going to have to say the theme of these 3 poems is literacy, but then you're going to have to tell me why, and why do you think? And don't forget to steal your quote. You don't have to give me a full-blown race answer. They don't give you enough space. But definitely use quotes from the poems in order to back yourself up. All right? So that's question number 1. Question number 2 says, what is the theme of the poem on page 368 and 369? Well, that poem is Better Fun. Okay, that's the poem we're talking about. And we talked about it in the other video where fun is right there in the title. So it's having fun is really the theme there. Question number 3 says, what message is the poet trying to send to the reader? Now, this is where it gets a little bit harder. To me, Better Fun is saying being out in the real world, having real adventures, is better than being in an amusement park. Although, let's face it, amusement parks are a lot of fun. So I think that's what his message is that we need to get out in the real world to have adventures. All right, and then question number 4 is, what common themes do you find in the poems written by Francisco X. Alcaron? What is his message to the reader? Well, one of the things that has in common with those 2 poems, which is Better Fun and Quiet Water, is that water, for one thing. Better Fun has them on the rough river. Quiet Water, of course, is about before the water falls over the waterfall. And I think his theme there is that you have to think about, or you have to experience the turbulent and the calm in order to appreciate one or the other, that you got to get out into the real world and have the turbulent and have the calm. So that's the way I would take those questions. Again, steal a quote if you can. Don't forget to restate. By this point, you should know how to restate. And it's not as horrible as you might think. Okay? All right. Good luck with this one.